don't have to switch. Hello, everybody. It is my honor to introduce Mr. Kostas Salvaras, who is Area Vice President, Southeast Europe at Philip Morris International. We'll be talking about, as you see, the role of business in boosting European competitiveness through investments in science, innovation, and technology, as we've done so far. So, Mr. Salvaras, in his report, The Future of European Competitiveness, Mario Draghi outlines the need for a new European prosperity plan that puts research and innovation at the heart of the economy. As a company that invests in science and innovations in Europe, how do you see the role of businesses in supporting the European economy?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks also to the organizers for the invitation. So, obviously, businesses contribute significantly in the European prosperity and economy. And in fact, the role of the businesses to come up with innovative products and also commercialize them at scale. But I think equally important is the role of the governments and the regulators, because governments are the ones that they need to make sure that there is a stable and predictable environment and pursue the right policies in order to make innovation accessible to consumers. I mean, to quote Draghi in his report, he talked not only about ensuring a pipeline of innovation, but also improving the pipeline from innovation to commercialization, and also taking out barriers for companies to innovate. I think this is where regulators have to intervene in all those three topics. Now, as we are in Southeast Europe, perhaps it's important to mention that there's an opportunity for the countries of the region to collaborate closely and come up in their policies regarding innovation and potentially come up with one voice when it comes to the European Union decision-making process.
I wonder how a company like Philip Morris International fosters innovation on a global and regional level. And could you share where Southeast Europe stands on this point?
Yes, first of all, I mean, we are committed to our vision of replacing cigarettes with scientifically substantiated alternatives for basically adult smokers that otherwise they would continue to smoke. If you see what happened the last decade, basically we disrupted the industry completely and we transformed the company inside out. Just to quote some numbers here, I mean, let me just... Yes, so we have, I mean, in order to do that, basically we have invested around $12 billion in smoke-free products in terms of research and development, testing these products, manufacturing these products, and also commercializing these products since basically a decade ago. And actually, talking about innovation, we are granted in total around 11,000 patents. Now, 34% of these patents were granted to us in 2023 alone by the European Patent Office, but also outside Europe, by countries, even China. I think this is fundamental. Now, it's important to mention that, in fact, Europe is the continent where we have invested the most. If I remember back in 2014, actually, all our manufacturing sites, all our factories in Europe, they were producing conventional cigarettes. If you see today, basically not only we have more manufacturing sites, but also predominantly they produce smoke-free products. It's interesting to mention that in, I think in total Europe, in the total European Union, basically, we employ around 21,000 people. Now, if we see more carefully on the Southeast Europe, we have three main manufacturing facilities We have obviously Papastratos in Greece, we have Romania in Romania, and we have also in Serbia. We have invested in total, combined in these facilities, 2.2 billion euros over the years, yes. And it is important also to mention that we continue these investments. We recently announced another $100 million, euros investment for our factory basically in Serbia. Now, I think the most interesting story, at least for me, is the story of exports. Basically, since 2015, our total exports of smoke-free products only from Europe has been $19 billion. And some interesting facts, if you go country by country, actually. If you take Romania, the leading agricultural product from Romania in terms of exports is wheat. In 2023, we reached 50% in terms of value of our exports of this product. Now Greece, if you take Greece, for those that know, the country, the leading agricultural products from Greece are fruits. So in 2023, our export value reached 70% of the total value that Greece exports in terms of fruits. Italy is also an interesting example. Back even in 2020, we exceeded the total value that Italy exports, total value of Italian exports of olive oil. A few years ago, in 2015, our Italian exports were only $10 million. In 2023, this number reached $1.9 billion. Or euros. Now they are almost the same, actually.
Those are, sir, some really impressive numbers and very rapid. It's a rapid growth. Could you also share how your company is supporting the smoke-free transition and innovations here in Bulgaria?
Yes, I think Bulgaria, is a very interesting story. We launched our most prominent, heat not burn platform in Bulgaria back in 2017. Since then, we are very glad with the progress here. Basically, we have more than 400,000 adult smokers that they have quit cigarettes and switched to IQOS. And there are some important numbers related to Bulgaria that I wouldn't like to miss. Yes, so in order to do that, basically, we invested very heavily in the business here. Just to give you a reference number, between 2019 and 2023, we invested around 207 million euros in the business in terms of commercial infrastructure, people, employment, logistics, customer contact centers, and the number of partners that we have there. In fact, our total employment investment since 2019 has grown by 159%, and we have been granted, we have been top employer for 9 years in a row. I think it's also important when we talk about Bulgaria to mention the impact on the government, the finances, state finances. Our total tax contribution is 2.4% of the total tax revenues of the country. And if you take excise tax, which is the tax that goes on the consumables, we contribute 10.4% of the total excise tax revenues of the country. When we talk about the social aspect, is interesting to mention that in managerial positions, 41% of our staff are women. And if you go to more senior levels, this percentage grows to 72%.
That's good news for us. Women, I mean.
Absolutely. interesting also is that almost 10,000 retailers in Bulgaria are covered by our youth prevention programs. And the local team here, and I want to congratulate them for that, they have created an anti-littering campaign, which is called Change the Picture, and has been one of the most impactful compared to the others that we have across Europe. I think everybody knows that the tobacco growing sector is also important in Bulgaria, and we have been supporting the local communities there for the last 10 years, basically with programs amounting to around 2.5 million leva in terms of education, medical support for the elderly, as well as supporting local entrepreneurs.
All good.
It's a long
all
answer,
good deeds.
but I think it deserves to talk about the country a bit.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to regulations of innovations, I've noticed that often scientific evidence and technological progress can be overlooked by regulators, and decisions can actually be made based on political bias, which of course hinders innovation. How do you think this policy making impacts businesses, people, society at large? And how do you view the roles of regulators in enabling change?
I think it's fundamental to have innovation, to foster innovation at scale. Basically, you need not to quote too much Draghi, but anyway, you need 4 fundamental elements. You need accessibility, you need awareness, you need affordability. It cannot be only for rich people or too expensive, and you need availability. I mean, there's no doubt that innovation at scale can boost competitiveness, productivity, and even raise the life standards for the people in Europe. But I think it's the role of regulators that they need to, stable, predictable environment and pursue the right policies in order to boost innovation, but also to make it accessible. I think if you see our region, we have countries that they look forward, like, Romania, like Greece, like Portugal, like Bulgaria, where there is the right regulation in terms of smoke-free products, and there is understanding of the science behind it, and also acknowledging the notion of tobacco harm reduction. And in fact, there is even one country, which is Sweden, which is very close, which is in the path, actually, of becoming entirely smoke-free, with the combination of the right regulation, which is based on science, and acknowledging tobacco harm reduction as one of the pillars, together with cessation and prevention programs, in order to pursue a smoke-free future and dramatically decrease smoking rates.
That's very good news for Sweden. In your current role at Philip Morris International, you're managing a cluster of 12 markets in Southeast Europe. How do you see the adoption of innovations in the region, and do you find any differences across those 12 markets?
It's important to mention that I think the region is one of the core related to our transformation. Just to provide again a few figures, our share of smoke-free products in Athens exceeds 30%. In Cyprus is more than 27%. In Sofia and Bucharest is more than 14%. Yes, on top, I think it's important to mention again that 100% of our shipment volume is covered by youth prevention programs in the region, in the whole region. So indeed, we are very glad about the progress in the region, and especially on understanding the science behind smoke-free products, acknowledging tobacco harm reduction in this sense. Thank you.
For the end, I would like to quote The chief executive at Philip Morris International, Jacek Olzak, cigarettes belong in the museum, he said a while ago. There are not many cases where a company of this scale has tried to give up its legacy and disrupt its traditional successful business. How is your company's transformation to smoke-free future progressing both in the world and in the region?
I think 2024 actually marked the 10-year anniversary of launching IQOS, our prominent heat-not-burn, most important, let's say, heat-not-burn platform globally. And if you see today, we are actually global champions when it comes to smoke-free products, and we offer a portfolio of these products. Again, it's important to mention, and I will use, just as the time runs out, some numbers from our region again. More than 50% of our revenues come from smoke-free products in countries like Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, obviously Japan, Italy. Actually, Greece is more than 70%. And globally, we have around 36.5 million adult smokers that they have switched to our smoke-free portfolio, out of which 30 million they have switched to our leading platform, IQOS. I think, just to also make sure that I get the numbers right here. Yes, our products are also available in 92 markets. I think, as you may see, we are doing the best that we can in order to make cigarettes obsolete. And I believe, and we believe, that with the right regulation and obviously support from the civil society, indeed, cigarette sales can stop in 10 to 15 years in many countries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salvaras. I hope we can achieve a smokeless future too. Have a round of applause for Mr. Salvaras. And now Mrs. Biserka Benisheva will present the next panel.